Hi guys, sorry I couldn't be in class today, but if you watch this video, hopefully that'll help you with any questions that you did have. So first question here are about distributive property. So just for the distributive property, you're taking what's outside and distributing or multiplying it by what's inside. So if we do one at a time here, we have 2 times 3b, bring down that minus sign, and then we have 2 times 4. So when we simplify this, we get 6b minus 8. And in class, we've kind of worked with just figuring out how to do it without all of the steps there. So you should, at this point, hopefully be familiar with how that works. 2 times 3b is 6b. And then 2 times negative 4, looking at this as a minus sign, or a negative sign. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So either way, you do get the same answer. On number 2, you can rewrite it and put 3 in front. And it's the same type of thing. You're distributing that 3. So we get 3c plus 3 times 9 is 27. In number 3, we're distributing a negative, and this is where it gets a little more confusing with negative signs and everything. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. And then negative 3 times negative 1y. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. So this is going to be plus 3y. And number 4, when we distribute negative 2 through here, we get negative 10. And then that last part you want to see here, we are distributing negative 2 to positive 3x. So negative 2 times positive 3x gives us negative 6x. And just a couple reminders here, we do not want to have extra signs in here. So if you had negative 10 plus negative 6x, that'll be marked incorrect, or at least partial credit off. We only want one sign instead of 2. Alright, number 5. The terms are everything with commas, basically, but you also have to have your negative signs, especially right here for this negative y. So there's the terms. The like terms are the ones that we would put the same shapes around. So we would put same shapes around 3y and negative 1y. So that's a pair of like terms. Okay, and then there's also another pair of like terms. And that's the 17 and the positive 5. A couple different ways to write that, but make sure you say that this is one pair of like terms, and this right here is another pair of like terms. All right, coefficients are the number in front of the variables. So those coefficients here, if I clear out what we had here, oops, sorry. If I clear out what we had, this is a slow process here, sorry about that. The numbers in front of all the variables here are 3, negative 1, and 7. And we only write the number, not the variable too. So 3, negative 1, and 7. Constant terms are the things without variables at all. They're the things that remain constant or never change. So 17 will always be there. And positive 5. Probably can't see that in green. Let's try that again. We have 17 and 5. And this is really a memorization thing. You should be able to read through these or, apply this to different questions and everything like that. So to simplify, here we're doing shapes. We're going to do circles, triangles, and boxes around the like terms. So here we have 10y. That's pretty big. We have 10y, 4y, and notice I put the sign in front, or the symbol in front, I included it also. And then we have negative 3 and positive 26. So to combine the blue ones there, 10y plus 4y is 14y. At this point, we're actually adding and subtracting. And then in the red, we have negative 3 plus 26, which is positive 23. So there's your answer there. In number 7, you'll see that there are decimals, and it's really the same process. We have 1.25b and negative 0.5b. but those aren't like terms with the b squareds. Those are different shapes. I'm going to put a 1 in front of this b squared there. So if we add the red ones together, 1b squared minus 2b squared, 1 minus 2 is negative 1b squared. For the blue, we have 1.25 minus 0.5, which is positive 0.75. And then at the end, this negative 4, the subtraction of 4, just goes at the end because it doesn't have anything else to combine with. So that is your answer there. And this is in descending order. You could have had, it in a different order as long as the signs are right, like 0.75b minus 4 minus 1b squared. But the one in the circle is the best answer there. In numbers 8 and 9, you had to distribute first. So when we distribute, we get 4x minus 24 plus 5x minus 2. And now we combine like terms. So 4x and 5x is 9x. And negative 20, I should do that in a different shape there. And negative 24 and negative 2, when we do negative 24 minus 2, it's negative 26. So there's your answer there. Number 9 is probably the most difficult one in this section here, because you have to distribute negative 2. So what we're going to do is bring down everything else. We're going to bring down 5 and negative 3a. And we're going to do negative 2 times a, which is negative 2a. And then negative 2 times 15, which is negative 30. As I was grading quizzes, a lot of us had a positive 30 there, or even a positive 15 because you forgot to multiply. But here we have like terms, 5 and negative 30. When you do that subtraction there, 5 minus 30 is negative 25. And then we have negative 3a and negative 2a, which is negative 5a. So that's your answer in descending order. Number 10, the ones that are simplified here, or it says simplify the expression. So we would look for finding like terms here. 3x squared minus 1x squared is 2x squared. And if you look, you can actually stop there because the only one that has 2x squared in it is d. But if we kept going, we have 3x and 5x, which is 8x, and then the plus 5. So that is the correct answer there. All right, page 2. Which of these expressions is simplified completely? So basically, you just look through here and see, can I do anything else to any of these questions? In A, you can do 5x plus 1x. So you can simplify it there, so it cannot be A. In part B, you can distribute the 2. That would be simplifying it. So part B is not simplified as far as it can go. In part C, you can add A and 2A. So that one doesn't work either. Part B is as simple as it can be. You can't add 17 and x. All right, number 12. Which expression is equivalent to 5 times a plus b? There are two ways you can solve this one. You can distribute 3 times, which would give you 5a plus 5b. And then you could combine your like terms and get 10a plus 5b. And that's as far as you can go there. So this answer is part D there, right there. You could also do it differently if you wanted to. You could go inside these parentheses and add together the a and the a. So it's really 5 times 2a plus b. Keep in mind there's a 1 here and a 1 here. So then you could distribute after that, and then you get your same answer there. Number 13. For the perimeter of the shape, you're trying to add up all the different sides here. So you could write out a whole expression if you wanted to, or you could just use these and circle the like terms. So we have 3 plus 2x minus 1x. 3 plus 2 minus 1, and that is a total of 4x. And then we have the constant terms. We have 9 minus 3 minus 4. And you can do that in your calculator if you need to. 9 minus 3 is 6, and 6 minus 4 is 2. But it's positive 2, so we need to say plus 2 in your answer. Okay, 14, there were a lot of problems with 14 just because you didn't find the area of the rectangle. For this one, to find the area of any rectangle, it's base times height. That's something you should know at this point. So we need to do base times height. And I even put the parentheses around this for you. That's your clue that you are distributing here. So when you multiply these out, what you have to do is distribute. All it is turning it into a distributive property question. So the answer is 30a plus 12. In number 15, you're looking for combining like terms and shapes. So this guy is an x squared. This is a 1. The rectangle is an x. And keep in mind, whenever you have a shaded one here, those are negatives. So when we combine like terms here, these are 0 pairs right there, so those are canceled out, a positive and a negative. So all we're left with here is one x squared tile right here. And then we have this one right here and this one right here, which is negative 2x because we have 2 of them and they're negative. And then we also have 4 ones and they're all positive, so it's plus 4. All right, next page. Number 16. The word difference means subtraction. And the order matters here. You have to do the x first and then the 8. And equals, or is that word that means equals. So it's equals 4. And that's it. You don't even have to solve that one, but if you did, you would get 12 when you add 8 to both sides. For 17, all you have to do is look at solving this equation here. So it's negative 33 times x right now. So to undo multiplication, the inverse of that is division. And keep in mind here, you have to divide by the negative sign as well. You have to divide by negative 33. Because when you do that division there, a negative divided by a negative is equal to positive 1. And we want positive 1x. So you actually had to do division in this one to solve it. For number 18, you had to multiply to cancel these out. So that's just the opposite. And if you don't like the way that that's written, you can think about it like this, if that helps you out. In number 19, this won't be on your test, but it's just something I wanted to see what you guys knew so far. An expression are the combining like terms questions. Anything without an equal sign. And an example, did it ask you to give an example, would be something like 2x minus 3 times x plus 1. Anything like that without an equal sign. So an equation is anything with an equal sign. So an example of something like that would be anything below, like right here. Here's an example. Here's an example. Anything with an equation where you're going to solve and get an answer, a number answer. Number 20. This is negative 63 times h. To undo multiplication, you need to divide both sides by negative 63 here. And when I write this line here, that line means division. So when we divide that, our answer is x equals, or I'm sorry, don't know why I changed it. X's should be h equals negative 6. Number 21, we need to multiply both sides by 7.5 because we are dividing by 7.5. The inverse of multiplying or dividing by 7.5 is multiplying by 7.5. So these guys will cancel out, and we're left with x is equal to 577.5. Number 22, we see an addition equation. We're adding 16. So the opposite of that is subtracting 16 from both sides. So doing the math here, we get x is equal to, after these cross out, 12. And keep in mind, you can always check to see if your answer is right. We think it's 12, so instead of x plus 16 equals 28, we're going to say 12 plus 16 is equal to 28. And you can actually add them up and see if that's the case. And that is the case there. Number 23. You want to subtract 2/5 from both sides because we are adding 2/5. The opposite of that is subtracting it. So we're going to do that to both sides. And this is something you can do on your calculator. The order is important though. You need to type in 7 ABC 15, then minus 2 ABC 15. 5, sorry. And when you do that, you'll get the answer of B is equal to 1/15. In number 24, we're looking at the right-hand side of the equation. So since it's minus 4, the opposite of that is adding 4 to both sides. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0, so we just get A is equal to 19. In number 25, it's times here. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 18.25. And I know a lot of people mistook this one because you have to do the 4 first. You need to type it on your calculator. 4 divided by 18.25. The order is important in that one. In this one, you get an answer of x is equal to, or I'm sorry, y is equal to 0.219. 0.219. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I had to push pause because my dog was eating things that she shouldn't have been eating, and I ignored it, so now my wife's mad at me. But anyway, the answer is 2.19. All right, 26. For this one, we have to do the opposite, or isolate n. The opposite of subtracting 25.98 is adding 25.98. So if we do that to both sides, we're just going to do, this cancels out. On the left side, we get n is equal to 60.07. And in number 27, the last equation here, to solve this, it's division by negative 14. So the opposite of that is multiplying by negative 14. So we get an answer of x is equal to negative 112. All right, last page. And these are the word problems. In this one, we've talked about this in class, how you cannot have an answer or an equation like something like this. 9 times 2 equals x. Or 300 minus 100 is equal to x. We talked about why we don't want our answer to have just equals your variable. I want your equation to look like something with x inside or written as a part of the equation. So we can automatically eliminate d. Even though in your head you would do 68 divided by 8 to get the answer. So if you're thinking in your head, you would do 68 divided by 8, or even written it like this. If that's what you think you would do, that is probably your inverse operation. So if your inverse operation is division, it must come from a multiplication equation. So it's something times x equals something. So here it says the total is 68. That's what you receive. That goes on the end. And then you are mowing lawns for 8 hours. So it would be 8 hours times what you make per hour is equal to your total. So the answer there is C. And a lot of people will try to do different types of equations, but none of them actually work out that way. A is wrong because you'd have to change it to a division there. B is wrong because if your x value would have to be something really, really big. It would actually be 8 times 68 there. And number 29, Osami is inviting her friends to the roller skating rink for her birthday party. So we have the total cost of $72, and they give us a charge per person. So here it's going to be a multiplication equation. And in your head, to get the answer, you probably would have done 72 divided by 6. So that's going to be a multiplication equation for us. It's going to be 6 times something, or x, is equal to 72. When you solve that, you'll divide both sides by 6 and get 12. So $12 is your cost per person there. Number 30, you deposit a check for $75.29 in your account. The receipt shows a balance of $542. Write and solve an equation to find the amount in your account before the deposit. So the key word that we've talked about in class is deposit, and that means add. You're putting money in. So it's going to be an equation like something plus something equals your total amount. And the total amount is $542.19. So it's going to be what you deposited, 7529, plus what's already in there. That'll be x. So there's your equation. When you solve that, you'll subtract 7529 from both sides, and your final answer will be 466.90. So here are some equations that are the wrong ones. Even though it looks like you'll get the right answer, and you will get the right answer in some of them. Here's a run that I don't want to see. Okay. We don't want to see x there. We want to see what's happening with x in the actual equation. Okay. And then some people even did, other people did 542.19 divided by 7529. But this one we're talking about what we're adding into our account. So that's your keyword there. 31. It says the number of students in high school is 300 more than the number of students in the middle school. So it's high school is 300 more than the middle school. So that's kind of your equation right there. More than is our keyword. They say that we're going to make this an addition one. So in the high school there were 900. And we don't know how many there were in the middle school. So there's our equation. And when we solve it, we'll subtract 300 from both sides and get 600. So in this one, a lot of people tried to do 900 minus 300 equals x. But we don't want that one because there's an x in the answer, or as the answer. And some people tried this one. Let me see if I can remember. It was x... What was it? X minus 300, I think it was. X minus 300 equals 900. But to solve that one, you'd have to add 300, which would get it to be 1200, which is too many. All right, last page, and this is what we did on the board in class, not all together, but I just want to go through it one more time with you. Here, if we're trying to get triangles by themselves, we want to know how many squares work for a triangle. So we have 4 different triangles. We want to see how many groups we can make. So we need to divide these squares into 4 groups. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So this equation would have been 4x equals 12. And we see that there are actually, oh, we did that wrong, sorry. We need four equal groups. Oh, sorry, no, I did it right. 4 big circles here. So 4 equal groups, and the answer is how many are in each group. So there are 1, 2, 3 in each group. Or in other words, you divide both sides by 4 and get x equals 3. And then the last one here was, what's the value of x? In this case, you can cross off tiles from each side. As long as you cross off the same amount of tiles from each side. What we're left with is x is equal to 2. That's the answer. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck on your test tomorrow. We'll see you next week.